Buckingham Palace have slammed the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle Sussex drama. Trust me when I tell you that Prince Harry is not a well man. This is a man totally overwhelmed by the wacky backy. Trust me when I tell you that Prince Harry is not a well man. This is a man totally overwhelmed by the wacky backy. Even his holiday in Portugal is designed to go to a place where you can smoke the wacky backy legally. By the way, Harry, you can't do it in this country. So I'm quite surprised he wants to come back.
A shocking headline in the Mail on Sunday. Dismay for the King, as Harry says he may not bring Meghan and the kids to London, having been refused armed royal protection.
Now, this is a shocking setback for Harry. It places the whole trip in doubt, and it threatens to completely derail the Sussexes' efforts to rehabilitate their public image and to re-enter the royal family.
Just as it looked like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle might finally be making their long-anticipated return to Britain, the entire situation seems to be unravelling in dramatic fashion. What many expected to become one of the biggest royal returns in recent years is now surrounded by confusion, controversy, and an even longer list of unanswered questions. Reports suggest the Sussexes' proposed visit to the UK could be facing major setbacks, and the reasons being discussed have sparked intense debate across royal watchers and critics alike. Things become even more surprising from there. The discussion is no longer focused only on security concerns. Some critics have once again raised questions about Harry's previous comments regarding substance use, arguing that years of controversial choices, high-profile disputes, and ongoing public drama may now be adding even more complications to the situation. Others disagree.
Harry's security meltdown. He is losing his mind. The increasingly mad and unhinged Duke of Sussex has gone completely crazy over personal security during his return trip to the United Kingdom.
What Prince Harry is doing there is slamming his father yet again, slamming King Charles yet again publicly. This is so mortifying. You're not even getting the palace. Do you know what? You're not getting to stay in Buckingham Palace because you have shamed this country, shamed the British royal family. You're not even getting the palace. The only reason he wants to come here, and everyone needs to realize this, is because his career has collapsed in the United States of America. Meghan Markle's dream of becoming a Hollywood billionaire in America has collapsed. It's over. The staff are leaving. The rats are abandoning this sinking ship.
But the debate refuses to die down. At the same time, Meghan is once again facing claims from critics that she benefits from the attention surrounding royal headlines. Those critics argue that she has a way of turning major royal news into opportunities connected to her public profile and business ventures, while supporters strongly reject those accusations. As if that were not enough, King Charles has once again found himself pulled into the centre of the conversation. The trip that many believed could reunite Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lilibet with Britain is now being questioned, with growing speculation that it may not happen after all. For several weeks, reports fueled expectations that Harry was preparing for a significant return to the United Kingdom. This was never expected to be another brief appearance. There were discussions about important engagements, possible meetings with family members, and perhaps the biggest point of speculation of all, Archie and Lilibet potentially travelling to Britain with their parents for the first time in quite a while. Following years of family disagreements, televised interviews, documentaries, public accusations, and ongoing tensions.
Now, Meghan Markle, speaking of appropriate time, believes that this moment is a great time to sell her new honey. Don't buy it, by the way. Sounds awful. Lavender honey. And this is the whole problem, isn't it? Because Meghan sees an opportunity in everything. All of the drama of this trip has suited her because every time she sees more headlines, she thinks, I'm going to tailor a was never mail out. It's weird. And this is the problem. And this is why none of this half in, half out Megxit is ever going to work.
Many people believe this visit might finally offer an opportunity for at least a small step toward repairing damaged family relationships and opening the door to future conversations. Instead, The opposite now seems to be unfolding. The planned visit is being overshadowed once again by the long-running dispute over security arrangements. Harry has spent years challenging the protection provided during visits to Britain. Since stepping back as a working royal, he has consistently argued that the security available to him and his family no longer meets what he believes is necessary, keeping the disagreement firmly in the spotlight as fresh questions continue emerging. Once again, the long-running security dispute has returned to dominate the headlines, refusing to fade away. The issue has followed Prince Harry through court proceedings, public interviews, and countless news stories. Now it has resurfaced yet again. According to growing reports, security concerns may have become serious enough that the planned visit could be reduced or even called off altogether. The online reaction was swift. Many people said they simply could not understand the situation. This is so mortifying. Critics pointed out that Harry has travelled extensively in recent years, attending public events in several countries. They questioned why Britain is now being presented as the one place where he feels uneasy about bringing his family.
Now, Harry and Meghan, they've got to do that. They need to recalibrate their royal credentials because that's the only value that exists within the brand. And they need headlines, they need attention, they need clicks, and they need money. All of that now is in peril as the prodigal prince once again creates negative and embarrassing headlines for King Charles. So Prince Harry, we are told, is having second thoughts about bringing Meghan and their children to the UK for what would have been their first meeting with King Charles in 4 years. This U-turn, this drama over security, this threat to cancel the trip comes from Meghan. Is this all a plan? Has this been storyboarded in advance, like one of Meghan's episodes of Suits? So although the children were not expected to appear at any public engagements, Meghan had been due to accompany Harry to events including visits to the Royal Hospital Chelsea, which is not actually a hospital, even though Meghan loved going to the hospital.
That is the question many people continue asking, and the more the story develops, the more attention it receives. Whether someone supports Harry or criticises him, one thing keeps standing out. Whenever a major royal reunion appears possible, another controversy seems to emerge unexpectedly. Then the conversation shifted once again. As security concerns dominated the news, critics began revisiting something Harry has previously spoken about himself, his past comments regarding substance use. Over the past several years, Harry has openly discussed using psychedelic substances and other substances during certain periods of his life. He explained that some of those experiences were connected to his efforts to cope with trauma and emotional struggles. At the time, those remarks made headlines around the world. Now those comments are being discussed once more. Some commentators argue that Harry's recent actions raise new...
Harry and Meghan had announced, or it had been speculated initially, that Harry and Meghan would be returning to the UK with their children for the kickoff and the Invictus Games. And then on Friday, just a couple of days ago, so Friday, June 27th, we got an itinerary for them. What event Meghan was supposed to be at. You know, what sort of the plans were. They were going to go visit Diana's gravesite in Althorp. And they were going to go to a hospital together. And then on Saturday, it was, no. Whoopsie daisy. We didn't get the security that we wanted. So yeah, now the kids and Meghan aren't going. But we're going to be holidaying in Europe.
Questions about his judgment, while others believe his ongoing disputes with institutions, family members, governments, and the media have become harder to follow. To be clear, these are opinions expressed by critics, not established facts, but the discussion continues to grow louder. For Harry, the timing could hardly be more difficult. Instead of headlines focusing on veterans, charitable work, or possible family reconciliation, public attention has once again shifted toward controversy. Pressure continues to build around the proposed UK visit, with fresh controversy emerging from every direction. The planned trip is facing increasing scrutiny. The ongoing security dispute continues to dominate headlines. Questions about Harry's past have resurfaced, and public debate seems to grow stronger with each passing day. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle has become the focus of a different discussion altogether. As royal headlines intensified, critics noticed something else happening in the background, another business promotion tied to her growing lifestyle brand. And this time, the attention centered on honey, while news outlets focused on royal security, family tensions, and uncertainty surrounding the UK visit. Meghan's latest product launch also attracted widespread discussion, and critics quickly weighed in. They repeated a familiar accusation, claiming she often finds ways to benefit from public attention regardless of where it comes from. Supporters argue she is simply running a business, while critics see something very different. They believe major royal stories are often followed by another launch or business announcement that keeps her name in the headlines. Whether fair or unfair, that perception has become a significant challenge for the Sussexes. Right now, much of the conversation is no longer about reconciliation, healing, or moving forward. Instead, attention is centered on security disputes, commercial ventures, and a royal visit that suddenly appears increasingly uncertain before it has even begun. And if Harry believed the security debate was already causing problems, many royal watchers say the discussion surrounding this visit becomes even more complicated when considering what some critics believe is happening behind the scenes. For all the public talk about family, healing, and reconciliation, a growing number of critics argue this visit may have involved more than reconnecting with relatives. They believe it was also connected to something they see as equally important: staying relevant. Every time Harry and Meghan are seen alongside senior members of the royal family, global attention immediately shifts back toward them. The moment Harry and Meghan are linked to the royal family again, the headlines erupt almost instantly, and the public conversation goes into overdrive. News stories spread everywhere. Social media lights up with non-stop reactions. Television commentators spend days analyzing every photograph, every meeting, every smile, and every facial expression. Their connection to the monarchy continues to be their strongest source of public attention, which is exactly why the possibility of this UK visit attracted such enormous interest from around the world. For years, Harry and Meghan have worked to establish an identity beyond royal life. There have been headline-making interviews, multi-million-dollar media agreements, podcasts, documentaries, best-selling books, lifestyle ventures, and a variety of business projects designed to build their own brand. Some of those ventures found success, others faded from public attention almost as quickly as they appeared. Yet despite all those efforts, one thing has remained remarkably consistent. The stories that spark the biggest public reaction are still the royal stories, the stories involving King Charles, Prince William, and events unfolding in Britain. That is why some commentators believe this visit carried much greater importance than anyone was willing to acknowledge publicly. Right now, both Harry and Meghan appear to be facing a difficult reality. Public curiosity about them remains incredibly strong, but the excitement surrounding many of their independent projects is no longer generating the same level of attention it once did. The podcast buzz gradually faded. The documentary headlines also slowed down. Several business ventures struggled to maintain lasting momentum, leading critics to argue that nearly every path eventually circles back to the royal family. That is why some observers believe this trip was about more than reconnecting with relatives. They believe it was also about strengthening the public value of the Sussex brand and renewing worldwide interest in their story. Then there is another major part of this ongoing discussion: Archie and Lilibet. Whenever reports surface about a possible visit to Britain, attention quickly shifts toward the children. Will they make the trip? Will they finally spend time with King Charles? Will new family photographs be released? Will the public catch another glimpse of them? Interest in those questions remains incredibly high, and many critics believe Harry and Meghan fully understand just how much worldwide attention that speculation continues to generate whenever a possible royal reunion becomes part of the conversation. What could have been a simple family visit quickly turned into a worldwide talking point the moment reports suggested Archie and Lilibet might return to Britain alongside their parents. The possibility of the children visiting the UK instantly transformed what might have been a routine trip into an international headline. Now, however, even that part of the story appears uncertain, with growing questions surrounding whether the visit will happen at all. If the trip ultimately falls apart, one of the biggest storylines disappears with it. There would be no widely anticipated family reunion, no emotional photographs, no historic meeting between generations, and no symbolic moment capable of dominating headlines across the world for days. That is where the situation becomes even more uncomfortable for the Sussexes. If security truly is the deciding factor, many people will understand that explanation, but if the visit is cancelled after weeks of growing speculation and anticipation, critics are almost certain to ask a far tougher question. Why build so much public expectation in the first place? Why allow excitement to grow? Why give the impression that a major family moment was approaching if so many unanswered questions still surrounded the visit? Those questions are unlikely to disappear anytime soon, and they continue adding even more pressure to an already complicated situation. Meanwhile, King Charles once again finds himself drawn into the centre of circumstances that seem impossible to avoid. Multiple reports continue to suggest that the King remains willing to see Harry and his grandchildren if the visit eventually moves forward. That possibility comes as little surprise. Despite everything that has unfolded over the past several years, Charles has repeatedly shown a willingness to leave the door open for communication. Even so, commentators and royal observers have suggested that patience within royal circles may be wearing increasingly thin, not because of one isolated event, but because of an ongoing pattern that continues repeating itself. A fresh controversy appears. Headlines explode everywhere. Discussions about reconciliation begin. Then another disagreement emerges. Another public debate follows. Another wave of speculation takes over. Before long, the entire cycle starts all over again. For many people watching from the outside, that pattern has become increasingly difficult to overlook, especially since this latest controversy arrived just as public attention was expected to shift somewhere entirely different. The Invictus Games were expected to become one of the central parts of Harry's visit. For many years, Invictus has remained one of the strongest and most respected aspects of his public work. Even many critics acknowledge the positive impact the organisation has had on wounded veterans and military families. Yet once again, conversations about veterans and charitable efforts have been pushed into the background. The headlines are no longer centered on service members or the mission of the Games. Instead, they are once again focused on security disputes, family disagreements, and continuing royal tensions, leaving many observers wondering whether the charitable message has once again been overshadowed by another wave of controversy. When controversy becomes the biggest headline, the original purpose of an event can easily fade into the background, and many observers believe that is exactly the concern once again. Every time public debate overshadows the cause itself, there is a risk that the mission behind the event receives far less attention than it deserves. At the same time, another uncomfortable reality continues to follow the Sussexes wherever they go. Public opinion remains sharply divided. They continue to have loyal supporters, but they also face significant skepticism from critics. Every statement is examined. Every public appearance is closely watched. Every decision sparks another round of debate. Right now, that level of scrutiny may be stronger than it has been in years, partly because expectations surrounding this visit had become so incredibly high. Many people were expecting a breakthrough. They were hoping for signs of progress. Instead, they found themselves watching yet another controversy unfold. Then there is Prince William. Although much of the public focus remains on Harry and King Charles, many royal commentators continue pointing to William as one of the biggest challenges to any meaningful reconciliation within the family. For years, reports have suggested that the relationship between the two brothers remains deeply strained. Unlike Charles, William is often described by commentators as being less willing to reopen old disputes. Whether those reports fully reflect reality or not, one thing appears clear. Very few people expect a dramatic reunion between the brothers anytime soon, creating yet another difficult obstacle for Harry, because even if communication with his father improves, the broader family situation remains extremely complicated. The divisions have not disappeared, the tensions have not disappeared. This latest controversy has done little to ease those long-running disagreements. That may be why so many royal observers believe the coming weeks could become an important turning point. If the visit goes ahead, Harry and Meghan will face enormous pressure to avoid creating fresh headlines or becoming involved in another public dispute. Every move they make will be watched closely. Every appearance will be analysed in detail. Every interaction could quickly become headline news around the world. But if the visit never takes place, the consequences could prove just as significant. Questions surrounding security will remain. Questions about family relationships will continue. Questions about the future of Harry and Meghan's public image are unlikely to disappear anytime soon. And perhaps the biggest question of all will continue hanging over everything: whether they can ever truly step out from the shadow of royal controversy and establish an identity that consistently stands on its own without being tied back to the royal family. Few issues have generated as much ongoing debate around Prince Harry as the question of security, and the disagreement shows no sign of slowing down. The security dispute has become one of the most divisive topics connected to Harry. Supporters believe he is simply trying to ensure the safety of his family whenever they travel. Critics, however, argue that the issue has turned into a never-ending conflict that repeatedly overshadows everything else he hopes to accomplish in the public eye. Whichever view people take, the outcome often appears the same. The conversation is no longer centered on Harry's goals or the causes he supports. Instead, attention keeps returning to the dispute itself, and many observers believe that can become a difficult position because the public eventually begins focusing more on the controversy than on the original message. Meanwhile, Meghan faces a challenge of her own. Over the past several years, she has worked to establish herself as a businesswoman, entrepreneur, producer, and lifestyle figure with a growing portfolio of projects. Yet each new venture seems to encounter the same obstacle before it has the chance to stand on its own. Royal headlines often arrive first. When critics noticed her latest product launches appearing during another major Sussex controversy, many quickly claimed she was benefiting from the attention surrounding the news. Supporters strongly disagree and argue that continuing business activities during major news events should not automatically be viewed as something negative. Whether those criticisms are fair or not, many commentators argue that public perception has become one of the Sussex's biggest challenges. A growing number of people believe Harry and Meghan struggle to separate their commercial projects from ongoing royal controversy. That perception follows nearly every interview, announcement, public appearance, and new business venture, making it increasingly difficult to change the narrative over time. Perhaps the most surprising part is that many observers believe none of this was inevitable. The proposed UK visit could have unfolded in a much simpler way. Attend the scheduled engagements, keep public attention on the organisations and causes being supported, avoid unnecessary distractions, leave with positive headlines and renewed goodwill. Instead, the entire conversation became dominated by arguments, speculation, and controversy before the visit had even begun, and leading some commentators to believe the greatest damage may have already been done long before anyone even arrived in Britain. In the end, the biggest impact may not come from what actually happens during the visit. It may come from what people are talking about right now. At the moment, much of the public conversation is not centered on charity work, accomplishments, or future plans. Instead, many headlines focus on another Sussex controversy, another public disagreement, and another chapter in a story that continues to spark intense debate. Whether those discussions are fair or unfair, they have once again become the dominant topic surrounding Harry and Meghan. The biggest question now is simple. What happens next? If Harry and Meghan decide to move forward with the trip, every moment is likely to be examined in extraordinary detail. Every arrival, public appearance, interaction, photograph, and statement could quickly become headline news. The pressure surrounding the visit would be enormous, and expectations would remain incredibly high. But if the visit is postponed or does not happen at all, the fallout could be just as significant. The conversation would immediately shift to another important question. Are Harry and Meghan still able to shape their own public narrative, or has the story grown beyond their control? For years, they have worked to define their public image through interviews, documentaries, business ventures, charitable efforts, and new projects. Yet royal controversy continues to dominate the biggest headlines. Many commentators believe that remains one of the most remarkable parts of this story. It is not only the security dispute, it is not only the criticism or the speculation, it is the fact that, after years of trying to build an independent path, the the stories generating the greatest worldwide attention still revolve around the royal family. That reality continues to fuel debate among supporters, critics, and royal observers alike. Perhaps the visit goes ahead as planned. Perhaps security concerns are resolved and family meetings take place. Or perhaps new obstacles appear before any of that can happen. What is clear is that the coming weeks could become one of the most closely watched periods Harry and Meghan have faced in years. The decisions they make now may influence far more than a single visit. They could shape public perception and future royal relations for a long time to come, with every new development likely to generate even more discussion. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Prince Harry is right to continue fighting over security, or has the issue become an unnecessary distraction? Do you think Harry and Meghan will actually travel to Britain, or could the entire plan fall apart before it even begins? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest royal updates and breaking stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.